Hello YouTube, this is Lilitha Star of Lilitha's Curios, and sorry about the black line on my thumb. I've just taken off a plaster. This is part 13 of painting the vampire Coven. Oh, pardon me. And last time I finished painting the fatty and got some of the base colours on her. Come on, camera, focus. There we go. It still doesn't want to focus on her, does it? She's being a proper vampire, isn't she? And since then I've put the white on her collar. It does look a bit messy, I will admit, but hopefully it's going to look all better when I'm finished. So, yeah. I also finished the runner of the team, second runner of Team Black. Oh, whoops, paint's trying to go everywhere. And so I've started on this zombie here. Now, the first thing I am going to do, I know I'm supposed to be focusing on the vampire Coven, but I'm really enjoying painting my zombies at the moment because the black ones are so easy. But this guy is going to be a hitman version of zombies, because I like trying to put either My Little Pony references in, because I love My Little Pony, or game references into each of the colour teams. Okay, so very quickly, just going to get started by dry brushing the living days out of this dude all over, both sides. There we go, all done. So I did this time want to try and do some more, like, talking to you about stuff again. I know last time it possibly wasn't the best, talking about, like, personal experiences and stuff like that, but that's all I had at the time, and unfortunately my PC kind of crashed and meant that I didn't have the Wikipedia entry up that I wanted to talk to everybody about. So I'm going to have to come up with something to ramble about that isn't to do with life stories. So not 100% sure, because recent life experiences have not been great. And I'm filming this on a Sunday. I know this is going to be posted on a Thursday, possibly 2 weeks or so after I filmed it, but hey. And I realised that in the last video, because I filmed that Thursday, the week before it got posted, and it was about my granddad, so by the time it's actually up online, my granddad's death will have been and gone. Which is a little silly, but I like to try and get ahead of things in case I have a really busy week, or I get sick, or I move, which is the biggest one that kind of dealt with the really bad scheduling issue that I had, you know. So, seeing as I am painting a Warhammer fantasy model, I will talk to you a little bit about how I got into Warhammer and some of my personal experiences. Ooh, whoops. Feel free to leave me some comments about this kind of thing, because I'm always interested in other people's experiences and so on and so forth. I do know, thank you very much, a lot of people have said to me, oh, there are cheaper models out there, but I've made friends with the people who actually run my local Games Workshop store, So I will support them because I really would like to see my friends living happily and so on and so forth. And I too work in what is considered a specialist store that regularly gets picked on by customers. So, and that's any specialist store anywhere, you will get it. You know, I can get this cheaper somewhere else, why should I come here? You know, I can go to the internet and get really cool stuff. Well, anyway, enough about that. So, we moved to Chicksands, which is a little army base outside Shefford, when I was 8 years old, I believe, just turning 9. And we lived close to a town called Bedford. And we used to go there every weekend to do shopping and stuff like that. And I hate shopping. I still hate shopping now, but you know, there's only so much you can do about the dreaded weekly shop. You need to do it when you're an adult, but when you're a kid you absolutely hate it. And one weekend I remember I was sick or something like that, because I couldn't go into town with Dad, Christine and Mum. And Christine came back and was like, I found this absolutely amazing store, and you can play games and you can paint models. And I love painting models, if you don't know, if you can't tell, I love painting models. And I was like, oh, I'm interested in this. What is this? It's called Games Workshop. I'm like, oh, okay, I've heard about that. A lot of the boys at my school talk about that. And I was interested, and then the next weekend, Dad took me and Christine down on a Sunday to play at the Sunday games. And this is where I prefer the much more old style, of Games Workshop compared to the new style Games Workshop. You got to play all together on one huge board. Absolutely, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. I'll fix it in a sec. Absolutely huge board all together. You had one unit each, and you essentially just went on to fight each other. Now, being a brand new player, I had never in my life played anything, so the manager at the time, I can't remember his name now for love nor money, but he was amazing. He took me over to... Got a rose in your hair. I'm gonna go with the blue rose. He took me over to the cabinet at the time and went, okay, pick any model or unit in this cabinet and you can play with it today. I will let you. Okay, I want that one. The ugliest thing I could find, just a single model, because as I said at the time, I'm not great with big numbers, so asking me to play with anything more than one is probably not a good idea. And it was the Great Unclean One of Chaos. Got put on the board, and I got to play the Great Unclean One as my first ever game. And I was the luckiest person on that board because I rolled all 5s and all 6s. All game. I had a certificate to prove it, and because he said to me, he gave me a pin badge, a skull pin badge, saying that I'd done really well. And then on the final roll of the game, where we decided who won and who lost, he said, if you roll all 5s and all 6s, I will print you off a certificate to say that you are an amazing player. And what did I roll? All 5s and all 6s. You can ask my sister about that, because she also got one for the same reason I did. Because we were really, really lucky. I wouldn't say we were good at the game, because it's our first game, but we were very, very lucky playing that game that day. It was absolutely amazing fun. And from then on, I started collecting Warhammer. Now, Dad did it more than me, and he collected Catachans. and the vampire queen's running away. Which are essentially soldiers in space. Space Marine, not Space Marines, they are Imperial Space Marine nutters that, you know, don't really wear armour and all that kind of stuff, and people make fun of them all the time. But I have a completely separate story about that that is absolutely amazing, and I might put it in at the end. But I decided to go for the fantasy because I love fantasy more than sci-fi anyway, and it kind of moved me a bit more. And I started off with the High Elves because I loved the High Elves. They were amazing, they were pretty, and what little 10-year-old girl doesn't like pretty things? And then Christine, my sister, started collecting the Wood Elves, and then I found the Dark Elves, which are, to me, a lot more fun, a lot more versatile in play style. I got lots of people telling me that I shouldn't like the Dark Elves, they were very two-dimensional. You know, they just hate everybody, they're just evil, blah 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 blah. High Elves are more interesting because they've got some of the people that are twisted by Cain and all this kind of blah 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 blah. But they are ultimately good guys, ultimately altruistic. They don't really have... Sorry, I'm desperately looking for a base coat paint and I don't know... There it is. And I got fed up of some of the preachy people I knew at the time telling me that, oh, well, if you like him, you know, you shouldn't like them, stick with your High Elves. And I said, well, ultimately, I believe that Malekith is correct. And, you know, I'd be hard done by if people kicked me out of my home. And consequently, I have been kicked out of my home. So, yeah, the person who kicked me out of my home in the past is now finding out that I'm not a very pleasant person to deal with even if she wants me to. That makes me sound horrible, but oh well. Probably too much for a video like this. I'm trying to be all nice and calming, and it's just not working. So anyway, so yeah. Whoops, sorry. I'm trying to remember that I've focused it all in. So anyway, she is ready. Oh no. She's got some jewellery on her. So she's not ready yet. So I collected Dark Elves. And then I didn't go back for years because I started working where I work now, and it's nowhere near Bedford. And the days off that I had tended to link with the days that the store is shut in Bedford. So I didn't get to go that much for a good couple of years. And then one day, the guys I'm working with, one Christmas, the Christmas temps that I'm working with, decided that, you know, it would be absolutely amazing to start playing 40k, because 40k is easier to understand than fantasy, apparently. I love both, but anyway, yeah. So for that fact, I started collecting Tyranids and painting again, and that's when I painted a set of models for a friend for my then deputy manager for his birthday. I don't know if he still has them. I hope he does, because they took me a very long time to finish. Can you see that? No, the camera's being silly again. There we go. And yeah. And then yeah, I started collecting Tyranids. Which I do need to do another video of, like, how my army progression on that has come a long, long way since that video I did. About 3 years ago now. You know? Yeah. But anyway, So next we are going to put this shade, same shade I use on pretty much everything, all over her. I don't know why I like this shade over the Reikland Flash one, but I do, so. Oh, I didn't do her back. No, it should be fine. We will fix it later. It will look at me. Ah, no! And we're at that wonderful ugly duckling stage where, well, my models look absolutely awful to start with. Because they're like, at that stage where you're like, I don't know what, you know. Well, once I start putting the ink on them like this, they tend to start looking at least a bit better. The stage she was at before is the true ugly duckling stage. This is like the chrysalis stage. Where you can actually decide if they're starting. Oh, I forgot to. Wow. Because you don't see that bit. Okay. Right, anyway. There we go. That's her all ready to dry. Okay, so for the last couple of minutes, I'm going to base coat Mr. Zombie some more. And if we get to his stage of inking, that would be amazing. So, he needs the white, because as I said, we're going to turn him into Mr. Hitman of zombies. I know everybody's going to like, well, why would he turn? And I was like, I can't get a Hitman survivor yet. Whoopsie. So I'm going to have a Hitman zombie instead. Just because you're genetically modified to kill things does not necessarily mean that you would survive hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of things just turning up and going, nom 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 your face. I saw a ridiculous little film the other day when I was picking up my copy of Crimson Peak, because I love Crimson Peak. Anyway. Yeah, essentially, zombies versus marine seals. Alright, well, there's not really much of a challenge there, is there? How is this going to be... Oh, you're going to have them make some stupid mistakes that anyone with marine training is going to be screaming at the TV going, what are you doing, you idiots? I found that a bit ridiculous, to be honest. So, suffice to say, I will be passing that one over unless anyone watches it and goes, ah, actually, it's quite good. Even then, I'll probably go, nah, I'm okay. Right, one of his... Yeah, well, I forgot the white there. So anyway, this story about my dad and his Katachans. So my the Necrons were a new race, new species. They'd kicked everybody's asses, from Space Marines to Chaos Marines. And we were in the store one day, and my dad was like, "I've got my 2 units of Katachans fully painted up," because this is when they had to be fully painted units before you could play them. I was appalled to walk in the other day and find out that there was like some not even base coated. But yeah, I'm not going to go into that right now. Again, another story. And he put down his units. They let him deploy in the forest. It's the worst thing you can do when you're fighting Katachans. Don't let them deploy in the forest. And anyway, these Necrons decided that, you know, one unit of Necrons decided, oh, we're going to go and take on the really hard-hitting things. We're going to go and take on the Space Marines. And one of my dad's 2 units of Katachans, he was deployed with the Space Marines. And the other, much lighter unit went to go and deal with Katachans in the forest, thinking, this will be fine. Now, for those of you who don't know, Necrons have a special rule. When they kill them on a roll of a 5 or a 6, they come back. unless they are caught in crossfire. Okay? So, my dad rolls his dice, does phenomenally well with the shooting of the Necrons, but the Necrons get back up, which is fine. They shoot at my dad, and do phenomenally poorly. So, my dad, of course, returns fire, gets into close combat, kills a lot of them, and they run away. So, my dad being my dad, he gave chase. You can choose not to. Some units you can't, some units you can. But he gave chase. And ran them back to this other fight. He ran over a load of Necrons and killed them all. And then, this second group of Necrons ran away from the Space Marines, into this second unit of Catachans. And they got caught in the crossfire and destroyed. And the Catachans had the most victory points, even over the Space Marines. And that was awesome to watch, because so many people didn't like my dad. Didn't like my dad after that. So many of the kids were like, "You killed my favourite Necron." Like it was a personal slight, like he decided to try and kick their ass because they were kids. It's like, no, my dad's not like that. The only child he would actively go out for and kill, in that way would be me or my sister, because it was funny. Damn it. Sometimes this white does not dry quick enough. Oh, whoops. And it ends up doing what it's done. Oh, it doesn't look too bad. Oh, shit. I'll be fixing that later anyway, so I'll just carry on. It's like sometimes the skin colour and the white dries really, really quick. Other times it's like, what are you doing to me? And I missed his leg as well. Oh well. That'll get sorted. Anyway. There we go. I'm going to leave you to it for a week. Again. This guy may or may not be finished. We don't know yet. But there's our two project models for this week. So I will see you next week. Goodbye.